Thank you for watching this video. My name is Gemma Medina, and I'm speaking from Eindhoven on a rainy day in the Netherlands today. I am a collaborator of the Associación de Arte Útil, and I work as curator, art historian, educator, and archivist for the Associación de Arte Útil as well. Today I'm very excited because I have the opportunity to share some questions with asinnajaq. She's a visual artist, filmmaker, writer, and curator based in Montreal, Canada. And we invited her because she has collaborated with Isuma TV, a platform that evolved from Isuma Productions. Isuma Productions was a project platform initiated by Zacharias Kunuk, Apak, Pauloosie, Qulitalik, and Cohn in 1990, and that is included into the Arte Útil archive. Thank you, asinnajaq, for agreeing to have this interview with us, and sorry for my probably or horrible pronunciation of all the names. I hope you will correct me. And just to start this conversation, I would like to ask you if you could introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your own practice and what is your involvement with Isuma?
Yes, hi. Thank you for having me. My name's asinnajaq, and I am currently in Uitaalutuq, also known as Montreal, Quebec, and I work in so many mediums, generally in the arts, and I love learning and communicating with people. I first started working with Isuma when I co-founded a film festival and arts festival for Inuit voices in Montreal, and I asked Isuma if I could share some of their video work for this festival, and that's how we first came in contact. And because of that experience, they invited me to curate exhibitions for them when it came to their 30th anniversary. And so I was hired by them to watch all of their film work and look through their photos and make art exhibitions. And after that, they were invited to Venice, and they brought me along with them with a 5-people curatorial team. And that's kind of how it all started. And I also wanted to add, when it comes to names and pronunciation, the number one best thing is trying it all and not being too shocked to not even try. As long as you're trying, you're on the right path.
Good. I will keep trying during the interview. So I would like if you could give us a little bit more context about the Isuma. Because I read this magnificent article that you wrote about the whole idea of Isuma. It's called Isuma is a Cumulative Effort that you published at the Magazine of Canadian Art in the spring of 2019. And from there, as you shared your perspective, I wanted to, if you could elaborate or share with us a little bit about this idea of what is Isuma and why do you think it's so relevant? And what are the values of this platform?
Yeah, I can speak from what I know. And I think that Isuma is about a lot of things. One of the number one things is about Inuit having a voice. And I think it's about self-representation and language and culture. When Isuma as a team started making video work, specifically in the video platform, that was in my understanding, so that as televisions are coming into communities and people would be spending their time differently, that it would be important that, like, sure, watch TV if you want to, but there should be an option that if what you want to do is watch TV, that you can watch like your own people in your own language talking about things that are important to you, and that you're not forced to only be consuming someone else's culture in another language with completely different values. So I think one of the really amazing things about the huge amount of work that Isuma has made, that in it there's all of this amazing knowledge that they're sharing, that we can learn from. And that's I think that the real, like, if I had to say like one most amazing thing, important thing about the work of Isuma, it's that they've created a body of work that you can learn and grow from.
Yeah, and actually, I mean, as you mentioned, they already have a long trajectory. And I was wondering, even thinking in your own practice as well, how do you feel about the idea of art becoming a tool for such a transformation? Because I think that's something that Isuma had very in mind when they even start with the whole platform, right?
Yeah, and I think that, like, with me and the way I think and the way I try to work, at my core value, and I think it comes from being Inuk, like my core value on what I want to do with life and what I think is valuable spending my time to do is about, like, my personal growth and the people around me personal growth, and like learning as a lifelong um, journey, and creating work that inspires people on their journey of learning at whatever space they're at. And I think that, like, Isuma has this website that is bonkers. It, like, it feels like it changes every day, and like sometimes you could find something and then lose it, and it has this kind of amazing like treasure trust quality. But the amazing thing in it is that, like, no matter what you kind of pick up from the website, is there's an opportunity there for you on your personal journey and learning and growing as a human.
And actually, as you mentioned, that you have work. I mean, you were, as you said, you were hired to really watch everything and learn a lot about Isuma. And actually, they have been participating. They're pretty active into the arts scene, right? They have been participating in many exhibitions and festivals, and even as you mentioned before, you were part of this curatorial team that brought them to represent Canada in the Venice Biennial in 2019. And I was wonder, for you, what does it mean, or what do you think it does it mean to use the context of art to bring up the stories and the culture and languages by Indigenous peoples?
Yeah, I think that art is a really incredible way to communicate. I think that um like talking about everyone being at their own level, the way that you think, like what you already know, where you are emotionally, or anywhere that you are in life, coming to an artwork, it's finding a way of communicating that isn't necessarily direct, that takes thinking, and that you can take really different things from it depending on what you're thinking about and where you are. And I think that that's one of the really amazing, valuable things about art. And when I think about Indigenous people, um, like using art to communicate, I think that it's amazing because there's so many layers that are being communicated. And so on one layer, it can be like simple cultural education, and that could be like sensitizing people outside of your culture to your culture. It could be offering something to people within your culture, um, that they can have a deeper understanding of themselves, maybe. And it can also really be on a human level, something that's really understood universally. That's always important information. We're all human, no matter where you're from, and there's some common experiences. And I think that, like, good art that I love can communicate on these multiple layers, and anyone can come to the artwork and take something away that's valuable. And I definitely think that the work that Isuma offers can have these complex layerings on them.
Yeah, definitely. And actually, after like 30 years, I always wonder about the how to maintain such a longevity in a way. So in your opinion, as a user of the platform, let's say, what do you think are the key points or strategies that you could maybe highlight that have allowed this sustainability in such a long journey all this time? I mean, when I said sustainability, I'm really referring to not just the financial terms, but thinking about the ecologies of collaboration or commitment, legitimation. I mean, all these kind of yeah, points that are always needed and in a way are very difficult to reach or to imagine when you are starting a new project and how to really, like combine all these. I don't know if you have some remarks or some points that you could really bring in from Isuma that you know from your collaboration with them.
Yeah, I think that importantly, there's a number of people that are really driven to do the work. Like, often with work, sometimes there's one person who's like really like driving it, and as long as they can drive it, then it will go. But as soon as that person loses energy or something happens, everything breaks down. From what I can see with Isuma, there's more than one person who are really driven to do the work, as well as through doing the work, people like when you like who you're working with, that helps a lot. And I think that there's like you use the word ecosystem. I think that's a great word to use. There's a great ecosystem of people who understand each other, who know how to collaborate with each other, who make space for each other. And that one of the like beautiful things about it is that there's been a space created where exciting work happens, where people can find their voice, can find somewhere that they're valued and valuable. And that, like, I really think there's some amazing relationships in the team that is Isuma, and that all of these amazing things together make it that it's a very long lasting project and collaborative effort that people are handing down to each other, and it's beautiful.
Yeah, of course. I just, watching the website and going through the history, the description that they give, it's just beautiful to imagine, how for how long, and it's bigger and growing and, like improving. And I saw that there are now different indigenous communities from different parts of the world. So now you can find videos in Spanish or, in different languages, and it's really, I mean, it's kind of impressive, and at the same time it's very inspiring. And After all these years, 30 years of practice, and I wonder what were the consequences of Isuma Productions. Do you think that there is any political effect or transformation that has been achieved in a way through the project, or that the project has really pushed, you know, in a sense to make a transformation?
I think that having Inuit who make film at a level that's like very professional is really inspiring. Sometimes you just need examples to know that you can do it. And I definitely know that the work of Isuma has inspired many Inuit to be able to see themselves in industries like film. I think that with the online platform and with the team being like pretty political, I think that it probably inspires some people who maybe wouldn't see themselves as political to be able to exercise their voice in that way. And I think that I think that because a lot of people engage with it online and connect with it, and the team at Isuma is always finding new ways to move in the world. It's definitely, there's big changes within the Inuit community, within the global community, because of the work. And I think like one of the really important things is that the films are made for Inuit first. And so when people outside of our culture are watching them, they're not being spoken down to about our culture. It's not like like teaching down. It's like really like if you watch the work, you're coming at the same level, and you're being invited in at the same level. And like, sure, you probably won't understand everything as someone who created the work would, but that's one of the really big strengths of the work is like when you're using art as a tool, you get to choose if you're trusting the people that you're like sharing the tools with. And if you share people like at your level, at their level, it's like more respectful, and like you're actually learning something like real.
Yeah, and actually, you just kind of mention that you know a lot of people that has been inspired, but I wanted to ask you for your personal experience, like how your own practice has been informed by Isuma Productions, and in a way, how do you see as well arts and collaboration within your own practice?
Yeah, I remember being in university, going to the art library, and looking through the film section, and like Isuma had a reader in the gallery, in the library, and I like knew about them, but I didn't like know all about them. And it was like really, it really made me feel like even more strong in my conviction to make film, to see that they had like a book in the library. Somehow that was like a huge thing to me. And I just, I think like in that moment, it was like really like the way I'm feeling it right now, seeing it is like as if my feet like got even more firmly planted. And so I think just like that, I think that there's just a feeling of like comfort and belonging that I have, um, probably because of their like presence, and then being invited in by them to work with their body of work. And that trusting my voice definitely has helped me trust my voice as well. And so I'm really grateful for that. And I can't remember the second part of your question.
About the how you use yourself, the idea of arts and collaboration in your own practice.
Yeah, I love collaboration. I'm a perfectionist, and I always want to do things like as good as possible, and I want to make really strong work. And one of the things that I realize is there are some things that are like really mine, and it's like I have to trust myself in what I'm doing. But there's like an equal amount of things where I have to talk to other people and work with other people and invite other people to share their perspectives so that that way the work can be strong. I think that like the amazing thing about talking with other people, working through things, is that everyone sees the world slightly differently and you can learn a lot. Like, I just talked with one of my friends. We went the other day, we were starting to read a book, and at the beginning of the book, we just like paused and we were like, okay, what does this word mean to you? And there was just like 10 words that we were just like, we went back and forth. Like, when I read this word, social justice, it means this thing to me. And then my friend says it means this to me. And then we read it in the book, it means this to the author. And it's like every single time on one word, we're seeing that we understand it differently. And when we like talk about it and share what it means to us, like my whole world is expanding and my understanding is expanding, and I'm all of a sudden on a new ground because of taking this time to understand, first of all, how I think about it, and then how my friend thinks about it. And I think like when I think of collaboration, that's like a really good example of just why it's valuable and why I love it, because it's just like uh, adding integers and expanding the world. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I like that you mentioned the idea of like the different perspectives and perceptions, and how rich can be the language in terms of, you know, how you interpret yourself, just one concept. Actually, we had the whole discussion about that as well, like the Arte Útil practices in terms of how they will need, you know, a new vocabulary, or, you know, to bring in different terms to discuss, you know, and to rethink differently about the artistic practice itself. So I think it's a great example to think about collaboration in that terms, on how you confront with other perspectives, right? And you have to you learn from them, and at the same time you share your, and you can, you know, you together build something. And just finishing this questionnaire that I had prepared for you, I wanted to know, how do you see the future of Isuma TV, and in a way, how you imagine, or how is your wish for the platform in 10 years?
I think I always have trouble imagining things 10 years from now, but I think like a best case scenario, or something that I would love to see, is expansion on this invitation that they have for Indigenous voices and Indigenous languages all over the world sharing their work as well. I think that that's a really strong aspect. And I think that there's something where um, it's like, it's called Indigenous Digital Democracy. And I think that this idea on this Isuma platform is really interesting, about having a way to share digitally on what's happening on Indigenous lands, like when it comes to mining and different like resource extractions, And I think that it could be a really interesting way to share globally on what's happening with the world and how we can support each other. And I think like that specific project's really inspiring because it's all about sharing information with people, information that's not always easily accessible, and making it accessible. It's like coming to the people where they are rather than trying to get the people to go somewhere else. So it's like if the people are online, if the people are on Facebook, if that's where the people are, then you bring that to them. And I think that's like one of the amazing things that they've done with the digital Indigenous democracy. And I would love to see like more of that, different interpretations of that, like a worldwide network of that.
Yeah, I would like to see that as well. I think that's something that digital platforms allow very well in sense of really this idea of connecting really like, and that's something that now maybe with the pandemic it's now even more evident. And I think that, yeah, in that sense, I'm very curious, and I wish with you that that happens. I was really excited when I saw that that's a new development, that they have already a lot of connections and a lot of collaborations with other indigenous communities in the world. And I would like pretty much to see more of that happening. So I don't want to take more of your time, but I really want to thank you, asinnajaq, for sharing with us your perspective and your experience. And I think in a way it helps understand better Isuma and platform and how is still affecting change, I would say, not just in the paradigm of what can be done and how can be done differently, but as well in terms of narratives and perspectives, as you say, and even thinking differently about aesthetics. And pretty much willing to looking for more of your work as well.
Thank you.